Now can you? Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Thank you, Karen. Okay. Let me just go back here and we'll basically start again. Welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show. Unbelievable. I forgot to hit a button. That was my fault. Okay, so there should be sound now. Yeah. All right, let's just get past all the other crap. Please subscribe and follow on YouTube or Rumble, wherever you may be watching. There are new docs out that Fauci absolutely colluded with intel agencies on the COVID cover-up and then lied to Congress. After years of lies, censorship, and cover-ups to you and I, the American people, we deserve transparency, truth, and accountability. That, according to outgoing DNI as Tulsi Gabbard, former White House COVID czar Anthony Dr. Mengele Fauci worked with intelligence officials to bury his wrongdoing, abuses of power throughout the pandemic, and then misled Congress about it, according to newly declassified records. Released Thursday evening of last week by outgoing Director of DNI Tulsi Gabbard, this never-before-seen these files purport to show how Fauci worked with politicized career leadership in the intelligence community to suppress the truth about his actions, the virus lab leak origins, his role in directing U.S. funding for the dangerous research that caused incredible, immeasurable harm and cost countless lives. He is directly responsible not only for that, but the cover-up. The agency additionally claimed these communications further unveil the National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Diseases, NIAID director's direct role in influencing and manipulating IC assessments on COVID-19, and how he allegedly lied to Congress in 2024, denying under oath any knowledge or participation in discussions with intelligence officials about viral research. Biden granted Fauci a last-minute sweeping pardon as one of his final presidential acts, but they have dug into this and discovered that every single one of those pardons was signed by AutoPen, and they are working, as far as I know right now, on making them null and void. And if that happens, this man needs to be in handcuffs, an orange jumpsuit, and in prison for the rest of his life, which hopefully won't be that long. This COVID-19 pandemic, as you know, caused unbelievable hardship, pain for millions of us. To this day, I'm suffering. Countless people, not just here, but all over the world, were affected by this man. Years of lies, censorship, cover-ups. Gabbard said in her post about the release, "These tactics used to hide the truth are straight from the deep state playbook. Politicized, self-serving leaders like Dr. Fauci covered up their own wrongdoing and abuses of power, manipulated intelligence, lied to Congress, and undermined a duly elected president by restricting his access to vital facts needed to keep the country safe." A press release summarizing the findings, ODNI highlighted the influential roles Fauci played during the COVID outbreak. You remember he was on every corporate media outlet they could find. "I am the science. Wear your masks. Stay 6 feet apart. All those ridiculous, dumbass freaking circles in the grocery stores. Remember those? Why? Why did we ever put up with this in such a free country as America? Among these actions, funding risky coronavirus research, working as a behind-the-scenes advisor, along with his hand-picked experts to advance the narrative that COVID had a natural animal origin. It did not. That has been proven. Pushing the lies, the censorship. He called himself the country's leading COVID pundit. Fauci was an early opponent of the theory that the COVID outbreak resulted from a leak at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China. Records released in the years since the pandemic's outbreak have indicated Fauci told his then right-hand man, David Morans, to speak with corporate media with an apparent attempt to downplay that idea. Justice Department recently indicted Morin for allegedly partaking in an unlawful scheme to avoid open record requests related to COVID-19 research grants. The ODNI said the newly released documents show how Fauci and politicized IC leaders created a self-serving circular reporting loop in which he provided hand-picked NIAID-funded scientists to advise the Intelligence Committee. Absolutely, this man, if anyone, deserves to be in prison, it is him. Unbelievable. And that pardon, good old oatmeal brain Biden did not sign for you, that ain't going to hold up, pal. You're in a heap of trouble, and you better get ready for it, because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. Those pardons were all signed by the auto pen. They are all null and void. We just need to make that official. And it's going to happen. It is going to happen. Marilyn, good morning. Karen, good morning. Thank you for that alert on my sound. Appreciate that. Oh, man. Unbelievable. Well, here we go again, my friends. It's not good news. Los Angeles is burning again. And guess what Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom are doing? They are once again slow rolling their response. Last week, a warehouse fire erupted in an LA neighborhood of Boyle Heights, just east of downtown LA. The solar panels on the roof of this cold food storage facility continued to blaze throughout the entire night, billowing all kinds of toxic fumes and smoke into the atmosphere. Any efforts from the LA Fire Department? No good. They tried to contain it. They couldn't do it. This was Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now here it is Monday. 5 days later, that building is still burning. Officials say the fire broke out at a Lineage cold food storage facility on South Los Palos Street in Boyle Heights and appeared to be contained to the roof and the solar panels. A shelter-in-place order was in effect for the area south of the 101 to Washington Boulevard. The order was lifted around 8:45 p.m. About 70 people were evacuated on 2 streets, according to the LAPD. The ammonia line was compromised because of the blaze. The leak later contained. LAPD issued a citywide tactical alert, which increased the number of available officers. Back in August, firefighters have responded to a solar fire on the roof of the very same building. Take a note of that last point. The LA Fire Department mitigated a fire at this building before. It's happened before, caused by the same issue. But thanks to the cuts that good old Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass have enacted to the fire budget, which would have shored up prevention and mitigation, you gotta wonder if any follow-up or inspection was ever done to prevent this from happening again after they had a fire last August. Absolutely too little, too late. Toxic materials continue to this moment to burn, and smoke filling the air, affecting the surrounding neighborhoods. It is indeed a state of emergency. ABC News 7 reported on the lack of progress Saturday, 4 days after the fire began. This is insane.
Fish and poultry. With the refrigeration system down, all of that food is slowly warming up. And here's the problem. Firefighters still can't go inside safely. So now the city is getting help from the county, which has brought in huge helicopters to drop water and fire suppressing gel from the air in an effort to cool things down and keep the fire from spreading. But even when the fire is finally out, officials say a massive cleanup job is waiting. Think about it. Millions of pounds of spoiled food will have to be removed from the building before this is all over. Meanwhile, people who live near the fire say the smoke has made it really hard to breathe and forced many of them to stay inside for days.
It's overwhelming, very overwhelming.
If you're feeling the effects of the smoke, the city has opened relief centers where people can get out of the bad air, pick up masks and other resources. Officials say winds continue to shift, so even communities from miles away from the fire could still see and smell the smoke.
Wow. This, folks, is a nightmare. It took 4 days for Governor Newsom to declare a state of emergency. Apparently, Newsom was too busy hobnobbing in Chicago with Barack Obama at his new presidential library, the National Toilet. Also taking every chance to piss and moan about being targeted by Trump and the Department of Justice because his first partners corrupt nonprofits. Well, state of emergency? To him, the only emergency is that everybody's coming after me. They're targeting me. Los Angeles, pal, is burning, and you just don't give a shit. And then there's Mayor Bass. Karen Bass, since June 17th, there have been ex-posts about the fire and the effects to combat it, issued from the mayor of LA's account. Obviously, Karen is not sitting there with her phone in her hands. But the intern who's sending those out could be anywhere on the planet. Doesn't matter. The question is, was Bass in the city running point on this? Now, Spencer Pratt, the mayoral candidate, says nope, she was not. Pratt posted on X, Karen was sipping cocktails in Chicago when Boyle Heights fire erupted, just as she was sipping cocktails in Guyana when our Palisades fire erupted. He said, I warned you all what will happen to all of LA. That smoke choking out of LA is full of lead. Don't breathe it. Amazing. Bass manages to actually be out of town or out of the country when disaster strikes the city. At this rate, she's going to ensure there will be no Los Angeles by the end of her second term. And in the meantime, California Assemblywoman, current state Senate candidate Wendy Carrillo, directing her anger at District 1 Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, Hilda Solis, who encompasses Boyle Heights, where the fire is. She claims Solis is participating in environmental racism. Yeah, okay. That is exactly what Spencer Pratt warned about in his campaign. It's a shame people do not take this guy seriously. Thanks to the shenanigans in the LA mayor's race, the citizens now have a choice between Bass and Nithya Raman, Democrat socialist, who thinks she can solve the fire problems by banning grilling on red flag days. That's her plan. It is an absolute clown world in California, top to bottom. If it didn't involve the lives of people, the loss of property, this would be funny. But it doesn't. It isn't funny. And it does involve the lives of people and the loss of property. And these people at the top do absolutely not give a crap about it. Doesn't affect them, so why should they care? Yesterday, of course, was Father's Day. And I found this very interesting article from the Federalist titled, "The Most Effective Social Program is Being a Good Dad." There is one prevailing factor that actually prevents and predicts poverty, crime, academic failure, dependence on government, and that is growing up without a father in your home. At 2008 Democratic Convention, then Senator Barack Obama made an observation that wasn't nearly as controversial then as it is now. What makes you a man is not the ability to have a child, it is the courage to raise one. That from Barack Obama. Perhaps the strongest defense of fatherhood ever given by a modern Democrat. And yet, kind of hard to imagine that speech being given at a Democratic convention in 2026. Can you imagine if that speech was given today? Oh no, it would never happen. Obama acknowledged what decades of research have constantly shown. Children who grow up without a father are roughly 5 times more likely to live in poverty and commit crime. 9 times more likely to drop out of school, 20 times more likely to end up in prison. They're more likely to have behavioral problems, run away from home, become teenage parents themselves, and the foundations of our very community are weaker because of it. These kids need a dad. You know, there's a phrase nowadays that drives me nuts. I cannot stand it when people use this phrase. That's my baby mama, or that's my baby's daddy. No, that's the mom and you are the dad. That's my baby mama, like you're just some birthing machine and I have no commitment. That phrase is disgusting. My baby mama or my baby daddy. I hate to admit it, but Obama was exactly right back in 2008. Unfortunately, the left does not seem willing to look at reality. America's got a fatherlessness crisis. 1 in 4 children in the U.S., 1 in 4, 25%, grow up without a father in the home. Among Black children, that figure is close to 1 in every 2. 50%. And young people who grow up without a father, they can't succeed. The statistics show they just cannot succeed. When socialism in Venezuela destroyed our family business, opportunities, nearly everything they spent years building, this writer, she says, my father taught me perseverance and the importance of finding solutions. He taught me, especially in difficult times, strong family can do more than any politician or any government program could ever do. But too many people in America would have you believe otherwise. Are you black and poor? Well, systematic racism, that's it. It's holding you back. Are you a woman? You don't make enough money? Clearly you are being oppressed by men, of course. White man, still not having a great life? Oh, poor you. You must be getting exploited by capitalism. That's it. It's capitalism. And from this absolutely misguided worldview, the solution seems kind of simple. Government just punish the privileged and help the victims with more free stuff. That's it. Give them more free stuff. And the result? Absolutely predictable. You can see it coming. Beyond the obvious economic failure of socialist policies, what you do is you wind up creating a society of individuals who are entirely dependent and continually expecting more and more and more and more from the government. Free stuff. And when you expect more from the government, you know what happens? You expect less from yourself. Here in America, race, ethnicity, gender, that absolutely does not, should not, and does not determine what your future is. You determine what your future is. The truth is, there is one prevailing factor that absolutely predicts poverty: crime, academic failure, dependence on government more strongly than any other. Almost nobody wants to talk about it, and that is growing up without a father in your home. Why? Because the family is the most important institution of civilization, and within it, the father plays an absolutely fundamental role. A good father can teach you discipline, responsibility, self-control. A good father teaches that life owes you nothing. And if you want something, you get your ass out of bed every morning and you earn it. Good father teaches you to take responsibility for your mistakes instead of looking for somebody else to blame. Look, not an Obama fan in any way, shape, or form, but he was dead on back in 2008 when he understood something the left has ever since just dusted under the carpet and completely abandoned. Lefties have completely turned a blind eye to the problem of fatherlessness, also attacking the very things that would solve the problem. Masculinity smeared as toxic. That's even a thing these days. Toxic masculinity. The nuclear family, don't need it. It's a relic of the patriarchy, that's all. Father's treated as an option, my baby daddy, rather than an absolute necessity for raising children. 1 in 4 children in this country, across all races, grows up without a dad. 1 in every 2 Black families grow up without a father. 1 in 2. Something's got to be done. That is a statistic we cannot live with. Yes, indeed, Marilyn, I saw that. I did not get a chance to actually grab an article to cover it, but Kash Patel did announce on X and in a press con that James Comey has been indicted on 2 felony convictions. Wow. Fantastic. That's partly one of the things is that 8647 with the seashells bullcrap post he made and then deleted. That's where one of them came from. Go get him. Again, just like Fauci. Handcuffs, orange jumpsuit, in or under the prison. Don't care which. Fantastic. All right. You know what makes this cup so nice? It's that it's filled with Blackout coffee. They are a sponsor on this show. Even if they weren't, or if ever we lose the connection with Blackout coffee, I will still be drinking that brand of coffee because it is just the best I've ever had. I have had coffee since I was in my middle teenage years, and there is no other. I have never had a coffee as good as Blackout coffee. Blackout coffee is all done in-house, specialty grade premium coffee beans, graded at 80 points or above on a 100-point scale. They're grown at the perfect altitude, the right time of year, the best soil, harvested at just the right time. They work with local co-ops and American farmers to grow this high-quality coffee. They adopt a strict adherence to what they call their small batch roasting process, which means they only roast your beans after you place your order, and then they ship them out within 24 to 48 hours. Quick. When you get these things delivered to your doorstep, you have a fresh roasted bag of coffee. Now, if you cannot grind the beans yourself, not a worry, because on most of their popular roasts, Blackout Coffee offers ground versions. You just pull down the little tab there on the website, and you'll see whole beans or ground. They will grind them and send them to you that way. No problem, no difference. You still get the same amount of coffee. They just will grind it for you. Flavored coffees, incredible flavors. So many of them. They're all great. Pods, cold brew, instant, it's all there. You can even get yourself a coffee subscription, which will make sure that you never run out. Brilliant idea, and you save money, and you get to change anytime, whatever roast you want. You can change it anytime, and you can cancel your subscription anytime. Really, it is the best way to save money and make sure you never run out of coffee. Blackout Coffee, just use the link down there in our show notes, our description, and you can get yourself 20% off when you use the code J20, or just simply by using that link, you'll get that deal. But the code is JAY20, and you will get yourself 20% off on your first order. Try a single bag. Give it a shot. I promise you'll be back for more because it is just that good. Thank you, John Santos and the gang over at Blackout Coffee. American folks, American company, help to support them. They also send coffee to our troops, by the way, which is a brilliant idea. Oh, yeah. Love it. Keeps me going. Keeps me in the mood. Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff, the geek of the week, is back in the news again, and for all the same reasons. Adam Schiff's latest Elon Musk wealth grab fantasy. I know, but it's even worse than it sounds. We have seen in the last couple of weeks all kinds of Democrats making all kinds of absolutely insane, ridiculous remarks since Elon Musk became officially a trillionaire following the IPO from his company, SpaceX. They all seem to think now's the time to talk about how much the government should be grabbing from Elon and the other billionaires and redistribute it to those who didn't earn it. Punishing success, basically. Democrat nominee for Senate from Maine, scandal-plagued Graham Planer, the guy with the Nazi tattoo. He even said they should make sure Musk was the last trillionaire. Governor Newsom, California, said we needed to democratize the economy. Democratize the economy. You know what that means, right? Democrat Rep. Ro Khanna from California said why we should never vote for his party and had problems with the math as he spoke about a 5% wealth tax on billionaires. This is the basic difference. This is Ro. Republicans believe that if you let the wealthy spend capital, it'll make Americans prosperous. Democrats believe the federal government investing in healthcare and education of our people will make America prosperous and productive. Well, you see, the Democrats think that prosperity comes from taking more of your money because they know how to spend it for you. Don't worry, just give the money to us. We'll take care of it. That is just an ad as to why not to vote for these knuckleheads. Adam Schiff apparently decided he wanted to top Ro Khanna with an even worse idea: actual redistribution of Elon's trillion to other people. He released this video in which he fantasized about what we could pay from the wealth of our first trillionaire. Listen to this absolute moron.
What would $1 trillion pay for? Well, $1 trillion, if we decided to distribute that equally among American households, your household would get $7,500. Every household in America could get $7,500 from that $1 trillion. It would also pay for the complete four-year college education of 7.7 million American students. So you can take all the tuition, all the room and board, all the costs of all of that for 7.5 million students and pay for it by the wealth of our first trillionaire. It costs a lot to raise kids in America. Well, you could take 4.3 million kids and raise them from birth until 18, pay for everything they need during those 18 years.
What an absolute moron. First, he says we could distribute it to all American households, and then claims the trillion would pay for the college education of 7.7 million. And then he suggests it could pay for all the costs of raising your kid till they're 18 for 4.3 million kids. Well, the Democrats are literally now proposing the idea of taking away all of an individual's money. When did that become legal? Can we talk again about how they are rushing headlong to embrace this radical lefty thoughts? Forget the insanity of Schiff's math, which it is. Musk doesn't have $1 trillion lying around in cash. He's not like Scrooge McDuck with a giant safe full of gold that he goes and jumps in piles in his off hours just for enjoyment. It is locked up in stocks, in the value of the companies. If you grab it, you are destroying the companies. and all they would provide, including the scientific advancements and the space exploration, you pull tens of thousands of employees out of work. Gone. Tens of thousands. You will completely destroy the investment that Americans have in his companies, probably tank the stock market. So all of those people get hurt as well. Schiff, did you not think about that part? Then what you'd wind up doing is all of our billionaires currently would be on their private jet, escaping to some other country where they couldn't be touched so fast it would make your head spin. Gone. If we had a government idiotic and commie enough to actually do this, it would tank the country and its economy even more. But hey, trust the Democrats, bro. They mean well, even though government's already gotten trillions and not done any of the things Schiff just mentioned. Not a one. But they got trillions. All you need is to give them more money. Not to mention, it isn't the role of the government to pay for the things that Schiff is talking about. And then to top it off, Schiff drops down after the backlash and posted on Fox take on his video, calling it appropriately a war on success. Listen to this absolute bullshit.
A new front in the Democrats' war on success, with California Senator Adam Schiff releasing a video imagining ways to redistribute Elon Musk's trillion-dollar fortune.
What would $1 trillion pay for? Well, $1 trillion, if we decided to distribute that equally among American households, your household would get $7,500. It would also pay for the complete four-year college education of 7.7 million American students. You could take 4.3 million kids and raise them from birth until 18, pay for everything they need during those 18 years.
Okay, so Musk became the world's first trillionaire last week after the SpaceX company he founded in 2002 went public. Schiff called his wealth a product of a corrupt system.
Sorry, I know that was pretty much a repeat of what he had said before, but yeah, a corrupt system. Brilliant. Now, Fox did not say in that clip if tax shelters didn't allow it to go to one person. That doesn't even make sense, as the money's wrapped up in stock value, not tax shelters. Schiff called Musk's success a product of a corrupt system. Musk's success, my friends, is because of damned hard work and unbelievably innovative integrity and ingenuity. He earned that money. Meanwhile, Schiff has been part of a system that just keeps spending more and more and more, piling up the debt. So what is he even saying? Any Democrat who comes up with these kind of ideas should be willing to put up some of their own money. After all, they care about income equality, right? Least they can do is, you're going to push those ideas, open up that checkbook, pal. He won't, of course, because he's just a liar. That's what he does. Why do these people keep voting for these morons? It's absolutely beyond me. You saw more of this absolute bullshit with the reflecting pool, and it's not stopping. This insane obsession from the left with the DC reflecting pool, it has finally, thankfully, resulted in an arrest. Friday, Trump took to Truth Social talking about his beautification of the D.C. monuments, called out the vandalism at the reflecting pool. You gotta wish this were one of Trump's famous trolls or jokes. Sadly, it isn't. A group called Team Algae mounted a daily protest at the reflecting pool. Do we have the interview? It's not really an interview, it's just a YouTube video that will basically show you what's going on with these morons. Seriously. Do we have the? Oh, we do. All right. Here's the interview with this idiot.
Why are you doing this?
Because Trump used a $40 million no-bid contract to do this. Obviously, he didn't consult with scientists, as the scientists would have told him the consequences of having algae in the pipes, painting on concrete. Now, after a $40 million no-bid contract, they have to spend more millions of dollars to mitigate it for July 4th. But this is not going to end on July 4th. The algae is going to continue to grow. So this is the problem. This wasn't a problem. That is now a problem.
Just trying to hear you. It's hard to hear through the mask and the noise. Is he going to keep that on?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So what exactly is the problem specifically?
He spent $14 million on a no-bid contract.
Yeah.
On a no-bid contract.
Right.
Obviously, they did not consult the scientists.
Why?
Because then the scientists would have told them if there's algae in the pipes, after they painted on concrete, that the algae will grow.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice
Okay,
day.
bye.
Oh my God, where do we get these morons? First of all, the fact that that idiot woman was wearing a mask already tells us she's not right in the head. The second is that this woman is protesting in 90-plus degree heat in favor of algae formation. What? The level of mental illness displayed over Trump's efforts to simply make a national monument as beautiful and as serviceable as possible for the residents of D.C., visitors to Washington. It's absolutely tragic. But everyone from legacy news media working overtime to gaslight, to ruin, to take down the work that's been done and is being done, all because it was Trump who chose to do the work. It is absolutely demented. These people are sick in the head. Some people resent Trump calling this out, tried to deny it's not because of sabotage, that the blue paint is peeling and algae is rapidly forming. Miller not only documented the rehabilitation of the reflecting pool, but he keeps tabs on the maintenance efforts to keep it clean and beautiful. Miller also maintains a front row seat to the unhinged left being absolutely kooky. And kookie's a good word for it.
A man jumped in the reflecting pool today with all these crowds around, cut out a huge piece of the blue sealant, and tried to get away, but he was arrested.
Wow. So finally, one of these knuckleheads winds up in handcuffs. Good. Unbelievable. And they just will not leave it alone. Trying to make something beautiful, trying to make something gorgeous for the tourists. And they got a big problem with that because it's got Trump's name on it. Unbelievable. Europeans, I love these stories. They're all over X. If you have an X account, first of all, be sure and follow me. It's the Jay Sheldon Show. Check us out. Give us a follow. But the Europeans have been all over X, tasting U.S. suburbs and ranch dressing, and suddenly they realize just how poor they really are. And the left is begging to be like them. Listen, as we've shown you just in the first 52 minutes of today's show, the left is weird. Given, granted, proven. But one of the most bizarre features of the left's personality is that they desperately want to be like Europeans. Or actually, what they think European actually is. Now, most Europeans, by American standards, are quite poor. And they would really not like that life if they had it to choose from. Europeans come into America in droves for the World Cup, having an epiphany about how much more prosperous the U.S. is compared to their own countries. John Papola on X. The American left is in love with Europe that is simply, substantially poorer in real median terms than we are. They have no pride in the U.S., but dream of imaginary Copenhagen, internationally ignorant, but mostly just lying about how poor they are compared to us. Now, a lot of people are very shocked to learn about the GDP of some European countries. It is less than states here like Mississippi and Alabama. Their GDP of some countries in Europe is less than Mississippi or Alabama. Americans actually like air conditioning, big refrigerators, homes with large yards. Can you imagine? European football fans visiting America, discovering the mass affluence of the country's suburbs, the wealth enticing holidaymakers troubles European elites. America, once a peer, seems to be racing ahead. Indeed. And Labrador Skeptic says, this is about what I've been trying to communicate for years. RW Flyover America is suburbs, small cities, highly educated, mass affluence speaking globally going on for thousands of miles. But the coastals and the Euros fall for the deliberate propaganda that we are dumb hicks. And goes on and on and on from Europeans who keep saying, I am amazed at this country. Ranch dressing is straight up America. Invented on a California ranch in the 50s, and now we drown just about everything from pizza to wings in it, and it's no big deal. Everybody loves ranch dressing. Pretty much proves just how exceptional we are. Because only we could create a sauce that is damn good, and the rest of the world, when they discover it, is lapping it up. I love it. I love it. All right. I got a couple more stories. We'll save them for tomorrow because we're getting close on time. But have you ever actually seen a moose in person? You would probably have to live in Maine. We don't have a lot of moose anywhere else than in Maine. But something I did not realize is exactly how huge these moose are. If you've never seen one with a couple of cars in the background to give you perspective, take a look at this. All right, sorry, I gotta mute that because I'll get a copyright strike. But take a look. Here comes the moose. Now watch the cars behind him. Holy crap. Look at the size of that thing compared to that car. And that's not a small car. That's like some sort of SUV. Look at that thing as he just lumbers across the road. Look at the antlers. That is absolutely mind-boggling. Let me get a good still. Look at that. There you go. Look at that. That is insane. If you're listening to our podcast, head over towards the end of the show, about 57 minutes in. I don't care you watch the rest of the show or not. It doesn't matter. But take a look at that. That's a moose. They're huge. Unbelievable. All right. Thank you, folks. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. We'll be back again tomorrow. Please hit the like, follow, subscribe button, whether you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook. Rumble. By the way, I don't think I announced. I'm gone from Facebook. Done. Finished. There is no more Jay Sheldon. There is no more Jay Sheldon Show on Facebook. Screw you, Meta. Screw you, Mark Zuckerberg. Screw you, Facebook. I am so happy to not be on that platform. It fills me with joy. I'm gone. I've been censored there for the last time. So that's for you, Facebook. Enjoy. I'm out of here. I'll see you again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow.